Hi, so welcome sa ating discussion. Today, ang topic natin is Crimes Against National Security and the Laws of Nation under Title 1 ng Revised Penal Code. Okay? So, ano ba itong mga to? Okay? So, under Crimes Against National Security, we have treason, conspiracy and proposal to commit treason, misprision of treason under Article 116, espionage under Article 117. Okay? Then we have crimes against the laws of nation. So we have inciting to war or giving motives for reprisals. We have violations of neutrality. We have correspondence with hostile country, flight to enemy country, piracy, whether ordinary piracy and qualified piracy. Okay? So, pertaining these crimes, okay, I want you to take note na balikan natin yung sa Book 1, under Article 2. Di ba? Under Article 2 ng Revised Penal Code, yung territorial application ng revised penal code natin. Sinasabi doon na ang RPC natin is applicable lang sa mga crimes na nangyari within the territorial jurisdiction of the Philippines. So basically, sinasabi niya na applicable lang ang RPC kapag sa Pilipinas mo kinumit yung crime na yan. Okay? However, Article 2 gave us a bunch of exemptions. Yung mga circumstances wherein applicable pa rin ng RPC kahit pa sa labas ng bansa na commit or sa labas ng jurisdiction ng Philippines. One of which it's yung kinumit ng isang public official in the performance of his duty. Kahit pa nasa ibang bansa siya, applicable pa rin ng RPC. Okay? Isa rin sa mga exemptions is yung itong title na to, itong Crimes Against National Security. These are one of the exemptions sa principle of territoriality under Article 2, which provides that one can be held criminally liable even if itong mga crimes na nakikita natin sa screen natin were committed outside the Philippine jurisdiction. Let's say ikaw ay nag-commit ng treason, isa kang Filipino citizen na nag-adhere to the enemy by giving them aid and comfort during war. Okay? So you committed a treason. Magiging liable ka ba under the Philippine Revised Penal Code? Nasa ibang bansa ka? The answer is yes. Dahil ito nga ay isa sa mga extraterritorial jurisdiction na tinatawag. Okay? So, kahit pa nasa labas ng bansa ka, pag na-commit mo tong crimes against national security na to and crimes against the laws of nation, you will be held liable under the Philippine criminal law. Okay? However, syempre kung nasa ibang bansa ka, yung prosecution mo for that said crimes can only proceed if you are already within the Philippine territory. O kaya naman, you were brought to the Philippines pursuant to an extradition treaty after the commission of said crimes. Let's say, nag-commit ka nga ng treason sa ibang bansa. Criminally liable ka ba sa Pilipinas? The answer is yes. Pero syempre, mapaprosecute ka lang kapag bumalik ka na sa Pilipinas, pag nasa Philippine territory ka na. O kaya naman, let's say, yung pinag-i-stayan mong bansa, meron silang extradition treaty with the Philippines. So, ibig sabihin, itong bansa na to is ibabato ka ngayon nila sa Pilipinas. So, pagdating mo sa Pilipinas, you will be prosecuted na. Okay? So, syempre, doon ka na sa ibang bansa, di ba? Huwag kang papakita sa kanila, huwag kang babalik sa Pilipinas. Joke lang. Okay? So, again, as a general rule ng RPC natin, applicable sa Philippine territory. Okay? Isa sa mga exemption is yung mga crimes against national security and the laws of nation. Ito yan. Treason, conspiracy. Okay? Yan mga nakikita natin sa screen natin. Okay? So, question. Let's say ikaw ay isang Filipino citizen. Okay? Pero ikaw ay kasalukuyang nasa, let's say, Canada. Okay? So, nasa Canada ka. Ngayon, nakikibalita ka pa rin sa kung ano mga nangyayari sa Pilipinas. Okay? para akong apparition dito sa baba. Hindi static. So, nagpaplano ka. Nakikibalita ka sa nangyayari sa government sa Pilipinas. And hindi mo nagustuhan yung nangyayari. So, feeling mo is you can do better. So, nagplano ka ngayon mag-rebel. Okay? Nagplano ka mag-commit ng rebellion. Tapos yung plano mo, ayun na nga, ginawa mo na nga yung plano mo. Nag-commit ka ng rebellion while you are in Canada. Okay? The question is, will revised penal code apply sa ginawa mong rebellion against the Philippine government while you were in Canada? Okay? So the answer is no. Hindi siya magiging applicable. Why? Rebellion is included sa crimes against public order. Title 3. Hindi siya kasama dito sa national security and the laws of nation. Okay? As such, it is not among the exemptions to the territoriality rule under Article 2. Okay? Which covers itong mga crimes lang na nasa screen natin. Okay? Hence, yung rebellion na pinlano mo and kinary out mo outside the Philippines is not within the jurisdiction of the Philippines. Okay? Now, isa pa sa mga tatandaan natin is itong mga crimes na nakikita natin sa screen natin as a general rule, okay? They can only be committed in times of war. Okay? As a general rule. Mako-commit mo lang siya in times of war. Okay? However, syempre, in every rule, there is an exemption. Okay? So, may mga crimes dito na you can be also committed during the time of peace. Ano mga yan? Espionage. Okay? Hindi mo kailangan ng war para makapag-commit ng espionage. Okay? Inciting to war or giving motives for reprisals. Okay? Okay? Ikaw nga pasimuno nung nung gera eh. Ikaw nga dahilan kung bakit nagkaroon ng gera eh. So, nung nakommit mo siya, wala pang war. Okay? Violation of neutrality. Dito may war pero hindi involved yung Pilipinas. Okay? Pero dahil binviolate mo yung binviolate mo yung neutrality. Okay? Ano pa? Yung piracy and mutiny, whether ordinary man or qualified, okay, can also be committed during the time of peace. So, yan yung mga general concept na kailangan natin tandaan when it comes to these crimes. Okay? So, moving on, na discuss natin isa-isa itong mga crimes na to. Okay? Ay, sorry, nandito pala. Okay, so again, all crimes against national security and law of nations can only be committed in times of war as a general rule. Exemption, espionage, inciting to war, violation of neutrality, mutiny, and piracy. Okay? Okay? So, isa-isa natin discuss yung mga crimes. So, first is treason. Okay? So, I'm sorry, medyo lumang version yata yan nasa screen nyo. So, well, treason, codal readings, is committed by any person owing allegiance to the Philippine government. Okay? Levi's war against the Philippines or adheres to their enemies, giving them aid or comfort within the Philippines. Okay, so, correct natin, any Filipino citizen, okay, any Filipino citizen who levies war, okay, against the Philippines or adhere to their enemies, sa enemies ng Pilipinas, by giving them aid or comfort within the Philippines or elsewhere, liable ka for treason. Okay? So, again, any Filipino citizen, right, na merong allegiance sa government, of course, nag-levy ng war against the Philippines or nag-adhere sa enemies ng Pilipinas by giving them aid or comfort. Okay? Can also be committed by an alien. Okay? Alien who is residing in the Philippines. Okay? Who commits act acts of treason. Naglibay din ng war against the Philippines or nag-adhere sa enemies ng Philippines by giving them aid or comfort. Okay? So, that is the caudal definition of treason. Now, general definition, syempre, pag sinabing treason, ano yan? Breach of allegiance yan to the government. Okay? Committed by a person who owes allegiance to it. Okay? Meron kang allegiance, meron kang fidelity, meron kang obligation of fidelity doon sa government. Okay? Kailangan mong ibigay yung loyalty mo sa government. Okay? So, yung mga taong may obligation na ibigay yung fidelity nila sa government, tapos binreach nila yung obligation na yun, that is treason. Okay? So, breach of allegiance siya. Pag sinabi nating allegiance, again, obligation of fidelity. Okay? Obligation of fidelity and obedience to the government which the individuals or the government under which they live or to their sovereign in return for the protection they receive. Okay? So, kailangan mo ibigay yung loyalty mo dun sa government. Kapalit, protektahan ka ng government na yun. Okay? Tayo mga Pilipino, meron tayong allegiance sa government natin. Okay? No matter how punishing yung mga politiko, no matter how we hate some politicians, kung kahit pa gaano ka natin kinamumunghi ang iba sa mga politiko, is we still owe allegiance, hindi dun sa politiko, but to the Philippines. Okay? Dun sa government ng Philippines. Yung nire-represent ng mga politiko na yan. Okay? We still owe allegiance. Okay? May obligation of fidelity pa rin tayo sa government ng Philippines. Hindi dun sa politiko, again, dun sa government mismo. Okay? So, may dalawang klase ng allegiance ngayon. Merong permanent allegiance and merong temporary allegiance. Okay? Pag sinabi nating permanent, yung citizen's obligation of fidelity and obedience to his government or sovereign. Okay? Citizen. So tayo na citizen ng Philippines, meron tayong permanenteng allegiance sa government. Hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na hindi ako pwede maging liable ng treason kasi hindi kami bati ng Pilipinas ngayon. So, wala muna akong allegiance sa kanya. Hindi pwede yun. Okay? Bilang citizen ng Philippines, we have a permanent allegiance. Okay? Meron ding temporary allegiance na tinatawag. Itong temporary allegiance naman is para ito sa mga alien. Like I said kanina, mga foreigner, mga alien na nakatira dito sa Pilipinas. Okay? They have temporary allegiance sa Philippine government. So, kapag binreach nila yung allegiance na yun, pwede silang makasuhan ng treason. Okay? Kahit pa sabihin natin hindi sila Philippine citizen, nakatira ka dito eh. Diba? Sinabi ko kanina, definition ng allegiance, obligation of fidelity mo kapalit sa protection ng government na yun. Yung mga foreigner na nakatira dito, pinoprotektahan pa rin naman sila ng Pilipinas. Okay? May mga rights pa rin naman sila na katulad sa mga rights ng isang Filipino citizen. Okay? May right to life sila, may right to liberty sila, may right sila sa property. Well, mahabang usapan nyo sa property, pero sa life, sa liberty, meron silang right na gano'n. Okay? So, may protection pa rin na binibigay yung government sa kanila. In turn, they have the obligation of fidelity. Pero pag umalis na sila rito sa bansa natin, hindi na sila residing dito, hindi na sila nakatira dito, wala na yung allegiance na yun. Okay? Now, ano ngayon ang mga elements ng treason? Okay? So, first is the offender is a Filipino citizen or an alien residing in the Philippines. Like I said kanina, Filipino citizen dahil ikaw ay merong permanenteng allegiance, and yung alien residing, meron silang temporary allegiance. So, sila yung mga pwede makapag-commit ng treason. Okay? Pangalawa is dapat there is a war. Okay? In which the Philippines is involved. Okay? So, may gera. Nako-commit lang ang treason during the time of war. Okay? And dapat kasama sa war yung Philippines. Okay? Hindi siya neutral na walang pinapanigan. Kailangan kasama yung Pilipinas dun sa gera. Okay? So, nako-commit lang siya in times of war in which the Philippines is involved. Tapos, the offender, ang ginawa ni offender, una, levies war against the government or nag-adhere to the enemies by giving them aid or comfort. Okay? So, yan yung two modes of committing treason. Okay? So, first, naglibay ka ng war against the government or nag-adhere ka sa mga kalaban, giving them aid or comfort. Okay? Now, si alien, okay, pwede siya maging liable sa treason kung nasa Pilipinas siya. Okay? Take note, kapag ikaw ay isang Filipino citizen, okay, you can commit this crime even if such Filipino citizen is outside the Philippines. Diniscuss natin kanina, di ba? Extraterritorial application. So, kung ikaw ay isang Filipino citizen, okay, nasa ibang bansa ka, you can still be liable for treason if naglibay ka ng war against the government or nag-adhere ka sa kalaban, okay, during war. Okay, kahit pa sabihin natin nasa Canada ka, sa US ka, nasa Spain ka, kung saan pa man lupalop ng mundo. Basta ikaw ay Filipino citizen, you can commit this crime. Bakit ganun? Kasi nga, meron tayong permanenteng allegiance. Okay? So, permanent, hindi nawawala kahit pa nasa ang lupalop ka ng bansa or ng mundo. Okay? Pero kapag ikaw ay alien citizen, yung treason na yan must be committed in the Philippines. Except na lang in case of conspiracy. Okay? So, let's say kahit pa sabihin natin na si alien na sa ibang bansa, pero nakipag-conspire siya sa isang Filipino citizen na mag-commit ng treason against the Philippine government, pwede maging liable si alien kahit pa wala siya sa Pilipinas. Okay? Now, pangalawa, there is a war in which the Philippines is involved. Okay? So, kailangan ba, sir, merong formal declaration of the existence of a state of war? Kasi bago natin masabing nasa gera tayo, kailangan merong declaration yung Congress na nasa gera tayo. Okay? Kailangan ba nun? The answer is no. Formal declaration of the existence of war is not necessary. Okay? Actual hostilities may determine the date of the commencement of war. Okay? Let's say, binomba na eh. Okay? So, actual hostilities. Hindi kailangan ng declaration. Okay? So, again, third element, two modes of committing treason. Levying war, tsaka adhering to the enemies by giving them aid or comfort. Okay? Mahalagang sasabihin mo na magkasama tong dalawa. Okay? Kasi mamaya di-discuss natin na kapag nag-adhere ka lang naman pero hindi ka nagbigay ng aid or comfort, walang treason doon. Okay? But now, let's discuss yung unang mode. Nag-levy ka ng war against the government. So, etong nag-levy ng war, this requires the concurrence of two things. Una, that merong actual assembly of men. Okay? Actual assembly of men. Okay? May pagtitipon-tipon. Okay? Kailangan mo dyan ng pagtitipon-tipon. Okay? So, ang purpose ng pagtitipon-tipon na yun is executing a treasonable design by force. Okay? Kaya kayo nagtipon-tipon. For the purpose of executing a treasonable design by force. Okay? So, that is levying war. Take note na itong levying war na to, there must be intent. Okay? There must be intent. Yun nga yung pangalawa eh. Nagtipon-tipon kayo for the purpose of executing a treasonable design. So, meron kayong intent na mag-commit talaga ng treason. So, kung may intent kayo na mag-commit ng treason, ibig sabihin, ang treason cannot be committed through negligence. Okay? So, hindi pwede makommit yan through negligence. Because there must be an intent to overthrow the government and not merely resist to a particular statute o hindi kayo nagsama-sama para lang let's say, tipon-tipon kayo sa Manila para patalsikin itong isang government official o para ibalik yung perang ninakaw. Walang treason doon. Okay? Because there must be an intent to overthrow the government. Okay? If yung levying war is merely a civil uprising na wala namang intention of helping an external country, the crime is not treason. Okay? Pero syempre, depending on the circumstance, you can be liable for rebellion under Article 135 in relation to 134. In some circumstances. Okay? So, hindi porket nagtipon-tipon kayo, rebellion na kagad yan. Hindi naman. Okay? Later on, we will discuss kailan nagiging rebellion. Okay? Pangalawa is adherence to the enemies. Okay? So, merong adherence to the enemy. Kapag yung citizen, whether intellectually or emotionally, favors the enemy and harbors sympathies or convictions disloyal to his country's policy or interest. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng adherence. Parang sympathetic ka dun sa cause ng kalaban. Pumapanig ka dun sa side ng kalaban. Okay? Intellectually or emotionally, sa isip mo lang. Sa isip mo, wala, mali yung Pilipinas. Kampi ako dito sa kalaban. Okay? So, ikaw ganun ka. Does that mean treason na ba kagad yan? The answer is no. Okay? Kung pag-adherence lang yan, hindi pa sapat yan to commit treason. Kaya nga sabi ko kanina, laging magkasabi, adherence to the enemies by giving them aid or comfort. Kung nasa isip mo lang naman or sinasabi mo lang naman na sympathetic ka dito sa kalaban, na mas kampi ka dun sa kalaban, na mas pabor ka dun sa kalaban, walang treason dun. Okay? Yung adherence mo, there must be aid or comfort. Okay? So, adherence alone without aid or comfort does not constitute treason. Okay? But such adherence may be inferred from the acts committed by a person. Okay? So, kailangan merong, again, aid or comfort. So, ano ba tong aid or comfort na to? It means merong overt acts kang ginagawa. Overt acts, okay, keyword, overt acts, that strengthens, pinapalakas mo yung kalaban or you are weakening or tend to weaken the power ng Pilipinas to resist or to attack the enemies of the government. Okay? So, may mga ginawa kang overt acts. Again, overt acts. Okay? Hindi pwedeng nasa isip mo lang. Kailangan overt act na makakapagpalakas dun sa kalaban o makakapagpahina sa Pilipinas. Alin man dun sa dalawa. Okay? It tends to weaken the power of the Philippine government to the point na hindi na madedepensahan yung Pilipinas or hindi na siya maka-attack. Okay? So, paano naman kung gumawa ka nga ng overt act? Kasi akala mo, hihina yung Pilipinas. Hindi pala. Walang effect pala yung ginawa mo. Will you still be liable for treason? The answer is yes. It is not the degree of success, but rather yung aim mo for which the act was perpetrated. Yun yung nagde-determine ng commission of treason. Okay? So, example, ano ba yung mga specified acts of aid or comfort na nagko-constitute ng treason? Let's say, naging informer ka nung military police ng kalaban. Okay? Isa kang informant. O kaya active member ka nung enemy military police. Okay? Informant ka, sinasabi mo yung mga secrets ng Pilipinas o mga kahinaan. Okay? O kaya nagsaserve ka sa army ng kalaban as an agent or spy. Nag-i-spy ka sa Pilipinas. Okay? Acting as, let's say, sa isang case dati, merong finger woman doon sa barrio was zonified by the Japanese several men whom she accused as guerrillas. Okay? O kaya naman, let's say, during occupation na. Okay? Let's say, Japanese government na yung namumuno rito sa Pilipinas. Okay? Tapos ikaw, nakisali ka ngayon sa paghahunting ng mga natitirang Filipino civilians, okay, by the Japanese soldiers, okay, tumulong ka. So that is aid or comfort. Okay? So ano ang extent nitong aid or comfort na to? So yung overt act of giving aid or comfort sa enemy dapat intentional. Okay? Generally, para maging treasonous yung extent ng aid and comfort given to the enemies must be to render assistance to them as enemies and not merely as individuals. And in addition, be directly in furtherance of the enemy's hostile designs. Okay? So to make simple distinction, let's say, nagpairam ka ng pera sa kalaban na sa friend or out of charity to the beneficiary para makabili siya ng, let's say, personal necessities is to assist him as an individual and not technically traitorous. Okay? On the other hand, let's say nagbigay ka ng pera para makabili siya ng armas na gagamitin niya laban sa gobyerno ng Pilipinas. It enhances its strength and by the same count, injures the interest of the government. Nung government mo, ikaw na nagpahiram ng pera. So, which then constitutes treason. Okay? So, kanina ko pa binabanggit yung intent. Dapat merong intent. Okay? So, it means, again, treason cannot be committed through negligence. Okay? Yung overt acts of aid or comfort must be intentional as distinguished from merely negligent or undesigned act. Let's say dahil sa katangahan mo o kung ano man nang nangyari, basta may ginawa kang katangahan na naging resulta is lumakas yung kalaban ng Pilipinas, hindi mo naman sinasadya yung ginawa mo, then walang treason doon. Okay? Now, paano pinapatunayan ng treason? Okay? So, treason may be proved, una, by two witness testimony. Okay? As to the same overt act. Okay? Dalawang testimony na nagte-testify sila sa same overt act. Okay? O kaya naman, confession of the accused in an open court. Yan lang yung ways para mapatunayan ng treason. So, hindi siya yung regular, let's say rape, kahit isa lang yung witness dyan, yung ako sa biktima lang mismo, enough na yan for conviction. Okay? Pero pagdating sa treason, kailangan may two witnesses. Tapos parehas sila ng sinasabi. Okay? Kung walang two witnesses, ang natatanging way na lang para mapatunayan ng treason is umamin siya sa korte. Okay? So discuss natin. Two witness. Ano ba tong two witness rule na to? As a rule, itong two witness na to requires the testimony of at least two witnesses to prove yung overt act of giving aid or comfort. Okay? Yung overt act of giving aid or comfort. Okay? Sasabihin dapat ng dalawang witness kung ano yung acts na ginawa mo na nag-constitute ng aid or comfort. Okay? Kailangan parehas sila ng sasabihin. Kung di sila parehas, wala. Okay? So, yung two-witness rule is severely restrictive and requires na itong witness na to must testify to the whole overt act. Or kung separable man yan, there must be two witnesses to each part of the overt act. Let's say marami kang ginawang aid or comfort. Okay? Para mapatunayan yun, kailangan may tigda dalawang witness dun sa kada overt act na ginawa mo. Okay? Pero kung let's say may dalawang witness dun sa isang overt act, okay na yun. Okay? Paano kung isa lang yung nakakita sa'yo na ginawa mo tong unang bagay? Then yung pangalawang ginawa mo, isa lang rin yung nakakita. Okay? So wala. Again, kailangan mo ng dalawang witness na same yung sinasabi. Same yung nakita nila. Same yung na-witnessan nila. Okay? So, let's say, si witness A, nag-testify siya na nakita niya sa defendant na pumasok sa bahay ni X kasi hinahanap niya yung baril ni X. Okay? Yun yung testimony ni witness A. Nakita niya si defendant pumasok sa bahay ni X. Si witness B, ang tinestify naman niya that when X went to the garrison, okay, the defendant required him, si X, na i-produce yung baril. Pinakuha ni, sabi ni B, pinakuha ni defendant kay X yung baril. So it was held sa ganito na yung search for the revolver in the house of X is one overt act and yung requirement na i-produce yung baril is another. Okay? So magkaibang overt act yun nangyari. So thus, there must be two witnesses for each act. Okay? Let's say, parehas sila nakita na nagbibigay ka ng pera sa kalaban para pambili nila ng baril. Okay? Parehas dapat yung nakita. Okay? So, itong testimony na to, again, to the same overt act nung aid or comfort. Ibig sabihin, sa aid or comfort siya applicable. Paano sa adherence? Yung adherence, hindi siya kailangang ma-prove by the oaths of two witnesses. Okay? Sa adherence, criminal intent and knowledge may be gathered from the testimony of one witness or from the nature of the act itself or from circumstances surrounding the act. Okay? Pero, syempre, magkasama dapat yung adherence by giving them aid or comfort. Okay? Now, another way of proving treason is confession sa open court. Okay? So, confession of guilt in an open court before the judge while actually hearing the case. Sir, paano kung sa pulis siya umamin? Magdasal ka na, uulitin niya yun pag pumunta na siya sa korte. Okay? Pero kung hindi niya na inulit nung dumating na sa korte, wala. Okay? Kahit pa sabihin natin na sinunod mo lahat ng requisites ng extrajudicial confession. Written, signed, nasa harap ng abogado, language nung dun sa accused, kahit pa sinunod mo lahat yan, hindi pa rin pwede because ang requirement is confession sa open court. Okay? Judicial confession. Okay? Yun, extrajudicial confession or confession sa harap ng mga pulis, okay? Hindi siya sufficient to convict a person of treason. Okay? So, question, let's say, si X, kanina, ang mga example ko is, binigyan ng pambili ng baril. Ngayon naman, binigyan ng babae, yung mga male soldiers para daw entertainment nila or what. Okay? Para masatisfy yung lust ng kalaban. Does the act constitute treason? The answer is no. Okay? Commandeering of men to satisfy yung lust of the enemies or to enliven the entertainment held in their honor was not treason. Kahit pa sabihin na natin yung babae, yung mga entertainments, nakatulong para sumaya yung kalaban. Okay? Hindi pa rin siya treason. Okay? So, next is treason as a continuing offense. Okay? So, it can be committed by a single act or by series of acts. It can be committed in one single or different times. Okay? In treason, isa lang ang criminal intent. Sa haba ng plano mo. Sa plano mo, gagawin mo muna tong crime na to. Tapos, pangalawang crime, pangatlong crime. Part yun ng isang matinding plano of treason. Isang treason lang yun. Okay? So, continuous offense siya. A person na nag-commit ng treason, hindi siya criminally responsible for as many crimes of treason as the overt acts he has intentionally committed to give aid to the enemy. Okay? So, let's say, para matulungan yung gera, pinatay mo si General 1. Then, pinatay mo si General 2. Pinatay mo rin si General 3. Siyempre, pag wala yung mga general, it weakens the military. Diba? So, that is treason during the time of war. Okay? So, syempre, hindi ka pwede maging liable doon sa pagpatay mo kay General 1, pagpatay mo kay General 2, pagpatay mo kay General 3. Absorb lahat yan sa treason. Okay? Kung ang purpose mo Kaya pinatay mo yung mga general na yun, kahit pa sabihin natin in different times, is to commit treason. Okay? So, paano naman kapag tapos na yung gera? Pwede ka pa rin ba ma-prosecute nung ginawa mo? Yung treason during war? The answer is yes. Offender can still be prosecuted even after the war. Okay, next, common crimes committed in the furtherance of a crime of treason cannot be considered crimes separate from treason. Okay? Yun yung sinabi ko kanina. Okay, yung mga common crimes na kinomit in furtherance of treason are the overt acts of aid and comfort in favor of the enemy and are therefore inseparable siya from the treason itself. Okay? Nagiging element sila of treason. Okay? Na-absorb sila yung pagpatay mo dun sa General 1. Pwede ka bang kaso ng treason tapos murder? The answer is no. Yung murder or yung homicide, as the case may be, absorbed na yan sa treason. Okay? But however, let's say yung prosecution mo, inelect niya to prosecute the accused specifically for these crimes instead of relying on them as an element of treason, then yung punishment para sa mga common crimes na yun is not precluded. Okay, what do I mean? Let's say, murder ang kinaso sa'yo doon sa pagpatay mo kay General. Kasi doon kanila gustong i-prosecute, ayaw nilang i-prosecute ng treason. Ayaw nilang itrato yung pagpatay mo as element ng treason. So, kinasuhan ka nila ng murder. Okay? Na-convict ka ng murder, pwede ka pa ba nilang kasuhan ng treason? Hindi na. Wala na yung element eh. Okay? Pinrosecute ka na nila para doon sa common crime na yun. Okay? Now, syempre, merong mga aggravating circumstance na na-absorb sa treason. Meron ding mga allowable aggravating circumstance. So, ano yun? Ignominy, cruelty, amount of, and degree of aid, and gravity or seriousness of the acts of treason. Okay? Yan yung kapag nag-commit ka na ng treason, tas present pa tong mga to, pwedeng tumaas yung penalty mo. Okay? Ano naman yung mga aggravating na inherent kasama na sa treason? Evident premeditation, syempre yung pinagplanuhan, abuse of superior strength, treachery. Okay? Next, ano naman yung mga pwede mong gamitin as defense sa treason? Okay? Mga defenses mo pero duress or uncontrollable fear. Nagawa mo lang yung overt act of aid or comfort mo dahil sa tinakot ka. Okay? Or lawful obedience to a de facto government. Let's say, na-occupy na nga tayo ng Japan. Okay? So, Japanese government na yung namumuno rito. So, kailangan mong sundin yung mga order ng government na yun. Okay? So, pwede mo maging defense yun. Okay? Ano naman yung mga hindi pwedeng defense? Mga suspended allegiance and change in sovereignty and loss of citizenship by the mere joining in the army of the enemy. Okay? So, question. Si A, okay? Si A was charged with the crime of treason. So, sa defense niya, inassert niya na hindi na siya pwede ma-prosecute sa treason since he already lost his Filipino citizenship. Okay? Kasi, na siya sa, military ng ibang bansa. Sumali na siya. Okay? Sa military ng ibang bansa. Is his defense tenable? The answer is no. Okay? Si A, hindi niya pwedeng i-divest yung sarili niya of his Philippine citizenship by the simple expedient of accepting a commission in the military, naval, or air services of such country. Okay? Kasi kung papayagan natin yung ganito, the very crime would be the shield that would protect him from punishment. Nag-commit ka ng treason, tapos biglang sasali ka sa military ng ibang bansa, sasabihin mo hindi ka na Pinoy. Siyempre, hindi pwede. Okay? Now, balik tayo sa defense. Bakit yung suspended allegiance, ito, nasa una, or change sa sovereignty, bakit hindi siya defense in treason? Okay? Because, like we discussed kanina, ang citizen, meron siyang absolute and permanent allegiance sa government niya. Okay? Another, yung sovereignty of the government, hindi siya nata-transfer to the enemy by mere occupation. Okay? Pangatlo, yung subsistence of the sovereignty of the legitimate government in a territory occupied by the military forces of the enemy during war is one of the rules of international law. And ang nasususpend lang dun is yung merely the exercise of the rights of sovereignty. Hindi nawawala yung pagiging sovereign ng government natin dahil lang may nag-occupy sa government natin. Okay? So, bilang citizen, meron kang permanent allegiance sa government natin. Okay? Next is conspiracy to commit treason. Okay? So, conspiracy to commit treason, committed yan in times of war, two or more person comes to an agreement to levy war against the government or adheres to the enemy and to give them aid or comfort and decide to commit it. Okay? Two or more persons. Alam naman natin sa Article 8, di ba? Paano nakukumit ang conspiracy? Dahil may two or more persons na nag-agree sila na gumawa ng crime, then nag-decide sila na i-commit yung crime na yun. That is conspiracy under Article 8. Kapag in-apply natin yung Article 8 sa treason, ito na yan. Okay? Two or more person, nag-come sila sa agreement na mag-commit ng treason. Tapos, nag-decide sila na i-commit yung treason na yun. Whether magliway ng war against the government or mag-adhere to the enemy by giving them aid or comfort. Okay? So, isa to sa mga exemptions sa conspiracy, di ba? Sa conspiracy, alam natin. Conspiracy is not a crime. Except na lang kapag specifically punishable siya ng batas. Ito yun. Specifically punishable ang conspiracy to commit treason. Okay, so question. Yung brothers Roberto and Ricardo Ratute, Filipino citizen, led a group of armed men in seizing a southern island in the Philippines and declaring war against the duly constituted government of the country. Okay? AFP, led by yung Chief of Staff, let's say si General Ritorban, responded a full-scale war ensued between the AFP and the armed men led by the brothers. Okay? Yung armed conflict na yan raged for months. When the brothers-led armed men were running out of supplies, si Recalde, isa na namang Filipino citizen and mabuting kaibigan and supporter of the Ratute brothers, was tasked to leave for abroad para mag-solicit ng arms and funding para doon sa magkapatid. Okay? So, he was able to travel to Rwanda and there, nakilala niya si Reboli, a citizen and resident of Rwanda, who agreed to help the brothers by raising funds internationally and to send them to the Ratute brothers to aid them in their armed struggle against the Philippine government. Now, before Recalde and Reboli could complete their fundraising activities for the brothers, the AFP was able to reclaim the island and defeat the Ratute-led uprising. So, si Recalde, magkapatid, were charged with conspiracy to commit treason. Now, during the hearing of the two cases, the government only presented as a witness si General Returban. Isa lang yung pinresent na witness who testified on the activities of the Ratute brothers, Recalde and Reboli. Okay? Now, si Recalde ba at si Reboli, pwede ba sila makonvict of the crime of conspiracy to commit treason? Isa lang yung pinresent na na witness. The answer is no. Okay? And kung titingnan natin maigi, yung nagsimula is Filipino citizen. Okay? Sila yung nakapaglaban sa AFP. So, Filipino against Filipino. Okay? So, walang treason doon. Okay? So, Recalde and Reboli cannot be convicted of the crime of conspiracy to commit treason kasi wala namang war na nag-exist when they committed the acts. Okay? Yung treason as a crime committed in times of war, masasabing war yan kapag international armed conflict. Okay? Siyempre, kung ganun sa treason, ganun din sa conspiracy to commit treason. Okay? Moreover, yung ginawa ni Recalde at ni Reboli, nandun sila sa Rwanda, di ba? nasa ibang bansa sila. Okay? Next is proposal to commit treason. So, proposal to commit treason, conspiracy, may dalawang tao na nag-agree, nag-decide na mag-commit. Sa conspiracy naman, and in times of war, yung isang tao na to decided na mag-commit ng treason, okay? And pinropose niya yung execution na yan to some other person or persons. Okay? Again, exemptions, di ba? Ang proposal is not a crime itself, except na lang kapag specifically punishable. Ito yung exemption na yun. Okay? So, yung mere conspiracy and proposal to commit treason, punishable siya as felonies. Okay? Under Article 115. Okay? Ang dahilan dito is because yung treason, yung very existence ng treason, na-endanger niya yung state. Okay? So, doon sa tanong natin kanina, let's say for the sake of argument, treason yung na-commit nila. Pero hindi. Hindi treason yun. Ay, Filipino eh. Let's say treason. Conspiracy to commit treason. Nakalimutan ko lang i-discuss kanina. Kailangan mo ba ng two-witness rule para ma-convict yung isang tao ng conspiracy to commit treason? The answer is no. Okay? Conspiracy and proposal to commit treason is separate and distinct from treason. Magkaibang crime yan. Magkaibang article nga eh. 114 tsaka 115, di ba? So, magkaibang crime sila. Yung two-witness rule, nag-a-apply lang yan sa treason under Article 114. Okay? Dito sa proposal tsaka conspiracy to commit treason, kung sapat na yung isang witness para mapatunayan yung mga ginawa nilang overt act, edi okay na yun. Okay? Now, anong mangyayari naman kapag yung crime committed? Ano yung crime committed nila if yung actual acts of treason are committed after the conspiracy? Okay? If treason is actually committed, then yung conspiracy that the offenders had before committing treason, nagiging manner siya of incurring criminal liability and shall not be punished as a separate crime. Okay? Yung actual commission of treason has the effect of absorbing the felony of conspiracy to commit treason. Okay? Diba? Nag-conspire kayo, nag-agree kayo, nag-decide kayo na mag-commit ng treason, tapos ginawa nyo na nga. Pag ginawa nyo na, hindi na kayo pwede makasuhan pa ng conspiracy to commit treason. Treason na talaga yung ikakaso sa inyo, and yung conspiracy becomes a manner of incurring criminal liability. Magiging act of one, act of all na yan. Okay? Ganyan din naman sa rebellion, sa coup d'etat, sa sedition. Okay? Now, next would be misprision of treason. So, every person owing allegiance to the government of the Philippines without being a foreigner and having knowledge of any conspiracy against them, who conceals or does not disclose and make known the same as soon as possible sa proper authorities. Okay? Ikaw ay isang tao na merong allegiance sa Philippine government. Okay? Without being a foreigner. So, ikaw ay Filipino citizen. Ngayon, meron kang knowledge. Okay? Meron kang knowledge na itong ibang tao, nagpaplano sila na mag-commit ng conspiracy. Bilang Filipino citizen who owes permanent allegiance, you are required to report them sa proper authority. Kaso hindi mo ginawa, hindi mo na-report. That is misprision of treason. Okay? So, this is an exemption sa rule natin na silence does not make you criminally liable, di ba? Hindi porket hindi ka nagsalita, criminally liable ka na. Nakita mo si A na pinatay si B, hindi mo sinumbong. Okay? No. Okay? Exemption to. Okay? Kapag nakakita ka ng or may knowledge ka na may ibang taong nagko-conspire to commit treason, you have to report it to the proper authority. Otherwise, you may be liable for misprision of treason. Okay? So, ano yung mga elements nito? The offender must be owing allegiance to the government. May allegiance ka sa government and hindi ka dapat foreigner. Okay? So, Filipino citizen ka. Okay? Then, ikaw ay may knowledge of any conspiracy to commit treason against the government. Tapos, you conceal. Okay? Or hindi mo siya dinisclose. Or to make known the same as soon as possible. Yan yung pangatlong element sa governor or fiscal of the province or mayor or fiscal of the city in which he resides. Okay? However, I think na isa sa mga prof ko dati, si Judge, sinabi niya sa amin na kahit kaninong proper authority, pwede na. Okay? Sino ba kami para mag-argue? Judge yun. Estudyante kami. Diba? So again, this is an exemption to the rule that mere silence does not make a person criminally liable. Okay? It is a crime of omission. Okay? I know, itong mga criminology student, tinatanong, what is a felony? Act or omission, punishable by law. Tapos biglang tatanungin, bigyan nga example ng omission, punishable by law. Ang sasagot ng criminology student is tax evasion, sir. Okay? Gas-gas na sila sa tax evasion. Magbigay ka ng ibang example, misprision of treason. Diba? Okay? So, but take note that misprision of treason, hindi siya nag-a-apply when yung crime of treason is already committed by someone. Tapos hindi mo ni-report. Okay? Dito sa misprision of treason, may knowledge ka na nagko-conspire sila. Nag-agree sila and nag-decide sila na mag-commit ng treason. Kailangan mo sabihin sa government. Paano kung ang knowledge mo is na-commit na pala nila? Hindi na yun misprision of treason. Okay? Now, isa sa mga elements without being a foreigner. So, misprision of treason cannot be committed by a resident alien. Okay? The offender must be owing permanent allegiance to the government without being a foreigner. Okay? Okay, question. Si X, a Filipino citizen, meron siyang knowledge of treason committed by someone tapos hindi niya ni-report sa proper authorities. Pwede ba siyang maging liable for misprision of treason? The answer is no. Okay? So, hindi na mag-apply misprision of treason kasi nakalagay nga, meron siyang knowledge of any conspiracy against the government of the Philippines. Kaso ito, treason is already committed. Nangyari na. Okay? Ang pinapunish again sa misprision of treason, meron kang knowledge na meron nagko-conspire na mag-commit ng treason. Not knowledge of treason actually committed by another. Okay? Next, Article 117 is espionage. So, espionage is the offense of gathering, transmitting, or losing information respecting the national defense with intent or reason to believe that the information is to be used to the injury of the Republic of the Philippines or to the advantage of any foreign nation. Right? So, sinabi ko na kanina, itong espionage can be committed in times of war or in times of peace. Okay? Okay? So, itong espionage, nagpakalat ka ng information respecting the national defense ng Philippines. Okay? With the intent na i-injure yung Pilipinas. Okay? Now, pag ginamit mo to during times of war and naging resulta, lumakas yung kalaban, humina yung Philippines, then absorb to sa treason. Okay? Now, however, kapag syempre, time of peace yan, espionage yan. Okay? So, may dalawang ways of committing espionage. Una, by entering, okay? Pumasok ka without authority, therefore, sa isang warship, fort, or naval, or military establishment reservation to obtain any information, plans, photographs, or other data of a confidential nature relative sa defense ng Philippines. Okay? So, based sa definition na itong unang way of committing espionage, merong tatlong element. Si offender, pumasok siya. Okay, pumasok siya doon sa mga lugar na binanggit dito. Warship, fort, or naval. Okay? Take note, si offender dito is any person. Any person. Okay? Whether citizen man yan or foreigner, private individual, public officer, doesn't matter. Any person. Pumasok ka sa mga place na binanggit dito. That's the first element. Pangalawa, wala siyang authority na pumasok doon. Okay? So, paano yung kapitan ng warship pumasok doon sa naval? Hindi siya espionage in the first paragraph. Okay? Pwede siguro sa second paragraph. But pinag-uusapan natin itong unang way, kailangan wala siyang authority na pumasok doon. Okay? And ang purpose niya kung bakit siya pumasok is to obtain any information. Okay? Obtain any information, plans, photographs, or other data na related sa defense ng Philippines. Okay? Take note, si offender dito dapat may intention siya to obtain information related to the defense of the Philippines. Pero hindi necessary na makuha niya yung information. Gets? Pumasok siya doon sa naval base, wala siyang authority. Ang purpose niya kung bakit siya pumasok is para kumuha ng mga information. Eh, hindi niya nakuha. Espionage na ba yun? The answer is yes. Okay? Hindi siya pwede maging attempted espionage. Nakapasok ka na eh. Okay? May intention ka na kumuha eh. Hindi necessary na actually ma-obtain niya yung information. Okay? Pangalawa, by disclosing to the representative of a foreign nation the contents of articles, data, or information referred doon sa number 1, okay, which he had in possession by reason of public office he holds. Okay? Dito, nasa iyo na talaga yung information. Okay? Hindi mo na kailangan pumasok pa sa isang base or what, pero nasa iyo na. Paano napunta sa iyo information? Kasi ikaw yung public officer na in charge doon. Let's say yun nga, ikaw yung kapitan ng isang warship. Nandun sa warship yung mga information. Okay? So, may free access ka doon sa mga information na yun. Ang ginawa mo, kinuha mo yung information na yun, binigay mo sa foreign nations. Okay? That is the second way of committing espionage. So, may tatlong element. Dito, public officer ka. Okay? Hindi any person. Doon sa una, 'di ba? Any person. Dito, ikaw ay public officer. Tapos nasa possession niya. Okay? Nasa possession niya yung mga data. Okay? By reason of the public office he holds. Okay? That's why dahil siya ay presidente, nasa kanya lahat ng information. Okay? Tapos ang ginawa niya, dinisclose niya yung contents ng information na yun to a representative of a foreign nation. Okay? So, those are the elements of paragraph 2. Okay? So, ulitin lang natin kasi madalas nagkakamali rito. Sa paragraph 1, offender is any person. Whether citizen man yan, foreign individual, or a public officer. Sa paragraph 2, si offender is a public officer na nasa possession niya yung data, yung information dahil sa public office na hinahawakan niya. Okay? Take note na kapag dito sa paragraph 1, sir, pwede bang maging offender ang public officer? The answer is yes. As long as wala siyang authority na pumasok doon sa pinasok niya. Let's say sa fort, si barangay chairman, wala naman siya authority na basta-basta pumasok sa isang warship sa military fort. Okay? Pero public officer siya, pumasok siya ron with the intention of obtaining information. So, liable siya under paragraph 1. Okay? So, wag tayong sasagot na porket public officer, paragraph 2 na hindi. Kasi dito sa paragraph 1, pwede pa rin maging liable ang public officer. Ang pinagkaiba lang is yung information. Meron ba siyang free access dun sa information? Hinahawakan niya ba yung information na yan dahil dun sa pagiging public officer niya? Okay? So, isa yan sa pinagkaiba. Now, differentiate natin espionage and treason. Okay? So, sa espionage, hindi siya conditioned by the citizenship of the offender. Okay? Like I said, dun sa number 1, Paragraph 1, whether citizen man siya, foreign individual, public officer, private person. Okay? Sa treason, with the amendment, yung treason may be committed by a Filipino citizen or alien residing in the Philippines. Okay? As to the time it may have been committed naman, espionage is times of war or in times of peace. Okay? Sa treason, times of war lang. As to the manner of committing the crime. Okay? Different ways. May dalawa tayong binanggit. Okay? Sa treason naman, levying war against the government or adherence to the enemy by giving them aid or comfort. Okay? Next is inciting to war or giving motives for reprisals. So, itong crime na to is committed by any public officer or employee. Okay? And prison mayor siya kung private individual who, by unlawful or unauthorized acts, provokes or gives occasion for war involving or liable to involve the Philippine Islands or exposes the Filipino citizens to reprisals on their persons and property. Okay? Of course, mas mataas yung penalty kapag public officer, mas prison mayor lang kapag private individual. Ngayon, ang ginawa ng tao na yan is pinrovoke niya yung ibang bansa na magsimula ng gera laban sa Pilipinas. Okay? O kaya in-expose niya yung mga Pilipino sa reprisals on their persons or property. Okay? So, based on this definition, ano yung mga elements ngayon ng crime na to? Okay? So, si offender, nag-perform siya ng mga unlawful or unauthorized acts. Okay? Yan yung unang element. Nag-perform siya ng mga unlawful or unauthorized acts. And itong acts na to, okay, provoke or give occasion for war involving or liable to involve the Philippines or expose yung Filipino citizens to reprisals on their persons or property. Okay? Take note na itong dalawang elements na binanggit ko, if both elements concur, the crime is committed regardless of his intention. Hindi ko naman sinasadya na magsimula ng gera eh. Hindi, inciting to war pa rin yan. Okay? Basta yung gumawa ka ng unlawful or unauthorized acts, tapos ang naging resulta is nagsimula ng gera yung ibang bansa laban sa Pilipinas. Okay? So, time of commission, kasi mahalaga. Yung crime of inciting to war or gives motive for reprisal is committed in time of peace. Okay? In time of peace to. Bakit? Kasi ikaw nga yung nagsimula. Ikaw nga yung dahilan kung bakit nagsimula ng gera. Okay? Take note, if yung offender is public individual, nakalagay dito, is prison mayor lang yung penalty. If offender is a public officer or employee, reclusion temporal. Mas mataas. Okay? Now, yun nga, nagsimula ka ng gera or in-expose mo yung Filipino citizens to reprisals on their persons or property. Ay, ibig sabihin natin, ito yung any kind of forcible or coercive measure whereby itong one state nag-exercise sila ng deterrent effect or to obtain redress or satisfaction. Okay? Basic, para gumanti o manakit. Okay? Directly or indirectly for consequences of the illegal acts of another state which has refused to make amends for such illegal conduct. Itong tao na to gumawa ng unlawful act dito sa laban sa ibang bansa. Kaso walang naging consequence para dun sa tao na to. So, syempre, yung state na yun, puta, gaganti kami. Okay? So, gumawa din sila mga acts na naapektuhan ngayon yung mga property or persons sa mga citizens natin. Okay? So, reprisal is resorted to for the purpose of settling a dispute or redressing yung grievance without going to war. Okay? So, ano yung extent ng reprisals na to? Yung reprisals na yan are not limited sa military action. Pwede rin niyang economic reprisals or denying entry into their country. Okay? Let's say, ikaw, ginawa mo, sinunog mo yung flag ng Korea, South Korea. Okay? So, syempre, galit yung government ng South Korea. Bakit mo sinunog yung flag namin, di ba? So, ang ginawa ng South Korea, lahat ng OFW na nagtatrabaho sa South Korea, pinabalik ngayon nila sa Pilipinas. Tapos binan na nila yung entry ng Pilipino sa bansa nila. That is reprisal. Diba? So, magiging liable ka for inciting to war or gives motive for reprisals. Okay? Now, question. From 1658 to 2012, okay, the inhabitants of Sabah, Malaysia were paying rents to the Sultanate of Sulu. On 2013, Sultan J of Sultanate Sulu decided to send its royal forces to claim ownership over Sabah on the basis of a document ceding ownership of Sabah from Brunei in favor of Sulu. Since Sabah is already part of the territory of Malaysia in claiming that the act of Sultan J violates Article 118 of the RPC, itong crime na to, the Philippine government sued Sultan J. Will the suit prosper? Ano ba naman itong gumawa ng PowerPoint ko? Ang hirap sagutin itong mga nilagay niya sa tanong. Will the suit prosper? The answer would be no. Okay? Yung Article 118, applicable lang yan only when the offender performs unlawful or unauthorized act. Yun nga yung unang element ko, di ba? Sultan J was merely asserting his right to own the territory of Sabah when he sent its royal forces. Okay? Ina-assert niya lang yung right niya to own the territory. Yung cession made by Brunei in favor of the Sultanate of Sulu is a lawful and authorized basis upon which the claim of Sultan J may be made. Okay? So, walang giving motive for reprisal. Okay? Next is violation of neutrality under Article 119. Okay? 119, 120, 121, 22. Konti na lang. So, it is committed by anyone who, on the occasion of war, may war na ulit, in which the government is not involved, may gera, hindi kasama yung Pilipinas, violates any regulation issued by competent authority for purpose of enforcing neutrality. Violate mo yung order na sinasabing neutral tayo. Okay, pag sinabing neutrality, ito yung condition ng nation natin wherein in times of war, we take no part sa dispute na nangyayari. Okay? But continuous peaceful dealings with the belligerents. Okay? Hindi tayo nakikisali sa gera nila. Peaceful dealings lang tayo. Okay? So, based dito, ano yung mga elements? There is a war. Okay? Pero yung war, hindi involve ang Philippines. Okay? Let's say, Ukraine against Russia. Hindi tayo dyan. Neutral tayo dyan. I don't know if neutral tayo dyan. Pero, as far as I know, hindi naman tayo kasali. Diba? So, there is a war in which the Philippines is not involved. Ngayon, may inisyong regulation. Dito sa atin, ewan ko may inisyong regulation. I'm not updated. But, dito sa crime na to, dapat merong regulation na inisyo yung competent authority for the purpose of enforcing neutrality. May regulation sila na binaba na tayo ay neutral, tayo ay hindi makikisali sa gera na to, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Tapos si offender, violate niya yung regulation niya. Nakisawsaw. Okay? So, that is violation of neutrality. Okay? So, pangalawang element, again, merong regulation na inisyo yung competent authority. But, sino nga ba yung may authority to issue a regulation for the purpose of enforcement of neutrality? Yung regulation na yan must be issued by like siguro yung President of the Philippines or Chief of Staff ng AFP during a war between different countries in which the Philippines is not taking sides. Okay? That is violation of neutrality. Okay? Next is correspondence with hostile country. So, this is committed by any person who, in time of war, shall have correspondence with the enemy country or territory occupied by the enemy troops. Okay? In time of war, nakikipag-correspond ka dun sa hostile country o kaya dun sa enemy. Okay? Pag sinabi natin correspondence to hostile country, it means meron kang communication. Communication through letters. Okay? Or it may refer to letters which pass between those who have friendly or business relation. Ka-email mo sila. Okay? Now, ano yung elements nito based dito? So, there is a time of war in which the Philippines is involved. Okay? So, may war. That's the first element. The offender makes correspondence with the enemy country or territory occupied by the enemy troops. Okay? Tapos, take note, dapat itong correspondence na to, una, dapat siya ay prohibited. Prohibited by the government. May sinabi yung government na, bawal kayong makipag-correspond dyan sa kalaban natin. Okay? Pag ganun, tapos nakipag-correspond ka pa rin sa kanila, ay, may problema. Di ba? Okay? Pero kung hindi naman pinoprohibit ng government, will you be liable for correspondence with hostile country? The answer is no. Okay? Now, let's say hindi nga siya prohibited, pero you carried it on with cipher. Okay? May code. Yung correspondence nyo through codes. Okay? May mga codes kayo correspondence with hostile country na yan, kahit pasabihin natin na hindi siya prohibited. O kaya naman, hindi man siya cipher, hindi man siya prohibited, pero yung correspondence nyo containing information that might be useful sa enemy, na makakatulong sa enemy. Okay? Alin man dyan sa tatlo. Pinohibit siya ng government pero nakikipagsulatan ka pa rin, liable ka. Hindi siya prohibited pero may mga cipher, may mga conventional sites, liable ka. Okay? Wala nga conventional sites, hindi nga prohibited pero may information naman na useful sa enemy, liable ka. Okay? Even if yung correspondence mo contains innocent matter pero prohibited siya ng government, it is still punishable. Okay? Pero dito sa carried on in ciphers tsaka containing notice or information which might be useful sa enemy, hindi essential na prohibited siya ng government. Okay? Now, under Article 120, merong mga circumstances qualifying the offense. Yan, pakikipagsulatan mo. So, two things must concur to qualify the offense. Okay? Yung notice or information might be useful to the enemy and that the offender intended to aid the enemy. Okay? Take note, if your offender intended to aid the enemy by giving such notice or information, then treason yan. Yung penalty mo is the same as that for treason. Okay? Next crime is flight to enemy's country. Okay? So, any person who, owing allegiance to the government, attempts to flee or go to an enemy country when prohibited by the government. Prohibited by competent authority. Any person na may allegiance ka sa government. Okay? Kahit pa sabihin natin alien residence ka, may temporary allegiance ka eh. Okay? So, may temporary or permanent allegiance ka man. Tapos, tinry mong lumabas ng bansa, pupunta ka dun sa kalaban eh. Okay? Pinagbabawal ng Pilipinas na umalis at pumunta dun. That is flight to enemy country. Okay? So, elements. First, nakalagay enemy country. Diba? Enemy country. Enemy. So, ibig sabihin may war. Okay? Magkakaroon ba ng enemy kung walang war, diba? So, there is a war in which the Philippines is involved. Okay? Now, pangalawa, yung offender must be owing allegiance to the government, whether temporary man or permanent. So, whether resident alien, any person. Resident alien o kaya Filipino citizen. Tapos itong offender na to, attempts. Okay? Nag-attempt lang. Andun na siya sa airport, nakabili na siya ng ticket, papunta na siya. Okay? So, yung mere attempt na to, consummated na yan. Pagulo, di ba? Okay? Pero, yung mere attempt, nakakapag-consummate yung crime na flight to enemy country. O kaya naman, hindi man nag-attempt, pero nakarating na ron. Okay? And yung pagpunta dun sa country na yun is prohibited. That's the fourth element. Okay? So again, there is a war committed siya nung taong may allegiance. Ang ginawa ng tao na yun is nag-attempt or pumunta and prohibited siya ng government. Okay? It should be noted na yung mere attempt to flee or go to an enemy country when prohibited by competent authority consummates the felony. Okay? So, reiterate ko lang rin yung persons liable. Okay? Alien residents, hindi lang Filipino citizen, can be held liable under this article. Okay? Wala namang sinabi yung batas dyan na not being a foreigner. Diba? Hence, allegiance here in may be either permanent or temporary. Okay? Okay, next is piracy. Piracy under Article 112. So, it is committed by any person who, on the high seas, okay, shall attack or seize a vessel or not being a member of its complement or nor a passenger, shall seize the whole or in part of the cargo of said vessels, in its equipment or personal belongings of its complement or passengers. Puta, ano daw, diba? So, well, piracy. Pag sinabi natin piracy, ito yung, alam nyo naman siguro mga criminology, mahal kong criminology na alam nyo kung ano ang robbery. Diba? Ito yung pagnanakaw with force, with intimidation. Okay? Basically, this is robbery. Okay? Pero ginawa mo on the high seas. Okay? So, it is robbery or forcible depredation on the high seas without lawful authority and done with animo furandi, okay? Intent to steal, and in the spirit and intention of universal hostility. Okay? So, pag nanakaw pero nasa high seas. Okay? Yun yung ibig sabihin ng piracy. Pero syempre, hindi siya ganun nako-commit. Okay? So, may dalawang modes of committing piracy. Hahatiin lang natin to. Okay? Kasi ito yung una. By attacking or seizing a vessel in the high seas. Or, kaya may or dyan. Ito yung pangalawa. Okay? Yung by seizing the vessel while the high seas or the whole part of its cargo. Okay? So, may dalawang modes of committing piracy. By attacking or seizing a vessel on the high seas. So, ano yung elements nito? Okay? So, merong vessel na nasa high seas. Okay? Or, hindi man nasa high seas, pero nasa Philippine waters. Okay? Now, the offender dito is any person. Yun yung pangalawa. Merong vessel na nasa high seas o Philippine water, tapos yung offender is any person. Tapos, itong person na to, inatake niya or kinuha niya yung vessel na yun. Okay? Parang literal na pirata. Okay? Ang ginagawa sa One Piece. Yung mga malulupit na pirate. Diba? I-aboard nila yung vessel na yan. Tapos, kukunin nila para sa sarili nila. Yung vessel mismo. Okay? Okay, natake nila. Okay? That's the first mode of committing piracy. The second mode, elements niya, yung vessel, again, is on the high seas or Philippine waters. Ganun din. Okay? Yung offender dito, dapat hindi siya member of its complement or a passenger vessel. Okay? Hindi siya nakasakay dati doon sa barko na yun. Okay? And the offender seizes the whole or part of the cargo of said vessel, its equipment, or personal belongings of its complement or passengers. Okay? So, dito hindi na yung barko, yung mismong cargo. Okay? Well, kasama yung cargo. O mga personal belongings ng passenger, mga equipment ng passenger. Okay? Now, yung vessel nasa high seas, high seas, ano ba yung high seas? Okay? The UNCLOS defines high seas as parts of the sea na hindi na included sa exclusive economic zone. Napag-aralan nyo naman na yan sa Criminal Law Book 1 yun. Di ba? Yung economic zone, territorial seas, internal waters of the state. Okay? Pag hindi nakasama doon sa mga yun, high seas na yan. Hindi nakasama sa archipelagic water ng archipelagic state. Hindi nakasama sa exclusive economic zone. High seas na yan. Okay? Yung Philippine water, Yun na. EEZ, territorial seas, internal waters. Okay, basically, yung mga dagat, mga tubig, mga anyong tubig na wala na sa teritoryo ng Pilipinas. Okay? Wala na sa territorial jurisdiction ng Pilipinas. Eh, sir, kung wala na pala sa territory ng Pilipinas, bakit pa natin ipapunish, di ba? Again, exemption sa extraterritoriality application, di ba? Exemption to sa general rule natin na applicable lang ang RPC sa mga crimes na nangyari sa Philippine territory. Ito ang exemptions. Okay? Ang mga pirata, ano yan? Crimes against humanity. Okay? Hostes humani generis. Yung piracy is a crime not against any particular state but against all mankind. Kaya may jurisdiction ng court natin dyan. It may be punished in the competent tribunal of any country kung saan man matagpuan yung tao na yan, yung offender na yan, or into which he may be carried, kung saan man siya dalhin. Okay? But kahit nasa ang bansa pa yan, pwede siyang matry doon. Okay? Kasi nga crimes against humanity ang piracy. Okay? So, jurisdiction of piracy, hindi katulad ng ibang crimes, walang territorial limits. As it is against all, so it may be punished by all, di ba? Nor does it matter na yung crime was committed within the jurisdiction, let's say, 3-mile limit of a foreign state. For those limits, kahit pa sabihin na neutral sila sa war, hindi sila neutral to crimes. Okay? So, sorry, nandito pala. Hostes humani generis. Okay. Question. If yung piracy committed outside the Philippine waters, okay, wala na sa jurisdiction ng Pilipinas, will the Philippine courts have jurisdiction over the offense? Sinabi ko na yung kanina, the answer is yes. Okay? Yung piracy under Title 1, Book 2 ng RPC, as such, exemption siya sa rule of territoriality in criminal law sa Article 2. Diba? Yung same principle nag-a-apply yan even if the offender were charged not with a violation of qualified piracy but let's say sinarge siya ng PD 532 which penalizes piracy in the Philippine waters. Okay? Now, may nakalimutan yata ako. Piracy in general and mutiny. So, ano itong mutiny? Okay, so nakalimutan ko. Pag sinabi mutiny, ito yung unlawful resistance to a superior officer. Okay? Or the raising of commotion and disturbances on board a ship against the authority of its commander. Dito sa dalawang to, okay? Ito, hindi pwede maging mutiny kasi si offender dito, hindi dapat siya part. Diba? But pag sinabi natin mutiny, well, alam ko may table dito. O ito. Difference ng piracy and mutiny as to the offenders. Si piracy, offenders are strangers to the vessel. Hence, hindi dapat sila passenger, hindi dapat sila crew members. Okay? Sa mutiny, yung offender are members of the complement. Okay? Isa sila sa mga staff o kaya isa sila sa mga passenger. Okay? Now, acts committed, meron silang intent to steal sa piracy. Okay? Merong animo furandi and with intention of universal hostility. Sa mutiny naman, against the authority of the commander of the ship. Okay? Kakaklas sila laban doon sa kapitan, sa pinakamataas na commander ng barko. Okay? As to the intent of gain, sa piracy, merong intent to gain. Kasi nga pag nanakaw siya, di ba? Na nakomit sa high seas or Philippine water. Sa mutiny, immaterial ang intent to gain. Let's say, gusto lang ng mga offender na palitan yung mga officer o kaya wag sumunod sa mga order nung pinakamataas na commander nung ship na yan. Okay? Yun yung intent nila. Okay? As to the attack, galing sa labas ang piracy. Diba? Sa mutiny, galing sa loob kasi nga member sila ng passenger o kaya member sila ng crew. Okay? Now, Siyempre, pag qualified piracy, alam nyo naman sa book 1, kapag nag-qualify ang isang offense, ibig sabihin, may ginawa ka na nakapagpataas ng penalty. So, kapag yung piracy, sinamahan mo na itong tatlong to, magiging qualified piracy. So, ano yan tatlong yan? Okay? Whenever they have seized a vessel by boarding or firing upon the same, pinagbabaril nila. Okay? Kaya sila nakapag-board dun sa vessel na yan. Okay? Take note, para maging qualifying circumstance, so, the offenders must have seized the vessel. Okay? Take note din na itong qualifying circumstance na to, hindi nag-a-apply to mutiny. Okay? Bakit? Kasi nandun na sila sa loob eh. Already on board na sila doon sa ship. Diba? So, hindi ito mag-a-apply sa mutiny. Pangalawa, ito mag-a-apply na. Whenever the pirates have abandoned their victims without means of saving themselves. Okay? Say, binutas nila yung after nila nakawin yung mga pera, binutas nila yung barko para dahan-dahang lumubog. Kasi iniwan nila yung mga biktima nila ron. Nang walang pamamaraan para maligtas yung sarili nila. Qualifying circumstance yun. Okay? Kapag yung pagnanakaw nila may kasamang murder, homicide, physical injuries, and rape. Okay? So, hindi mo kakasuhan ng piracy with homicide. Piracy with murder, piracy with rape. Walang ganun. Okay? Yung homicide, yung murder, physical injuries, qualifying circumstance na yan sa piracy. Okay? Na-absorb na yan sa piracy and nakapagpataas na yan ng piracy nung penalty ng piracy. Okay? So, question, nung habang nagnanakaw yung mga pirata, pinatay nila yung isang tao. So, anong crime? Complex crime, piracy with murder? The answer is no. Okay? Isa lang na-commit. Qualified piracy. So, ulitin ko, dahil mahalaga, murder, rape, homicide, physical injuries. Itong apat. Okay? Are mere circumstances qualifying piracies and cannot be punished as separate crimes. Hindi rin sila complex with piracy. Okay? Now, anong mangyayari? Sir, kapag yung piracy, may kasama nitong apat, murder, homicide, physical injury, rape. Okay? Punishable siya by reclusion perpetua to death, regardless of the number of victims. Okay? Isa lang yun, absorb na lahat. Okay, next. May piracy kasi tayo under the RPC. May piracy din tayo under PD 532. Okay? Piracy, highway robbery. Okay? Ano pinagkaiba ngayon nila? Yung piracy under the RPC can be committed while the vessel is on high seas or Philippine waters. Okay? Pero kapag piracy under 532, only Philippine waters. Okay? Sino ang pwede maging offender? Sa piracy under the RPC, not members ng vessels, complement, or hindi sila passenger. Ibig sabihin sila ay stranger. Okay? Sa 532, committed by any person. Whether stranger man sila o members man sila ng complement or passenger man sila. Okay? So, based on that, take note that there is thus no piracy when yung members ng vessels complement or its passenger attack or seize the vessel or its cargo on the high seas. Okay? Yung offense, magiging theft siya or robbery recognizable by the Philippine courts. If na-commit siya on a Philippine ship. Okay? Diba sa Article 2? Isa sa mga exemption is committed in a Philippine ship or airship. Okay? So, kapag yung member ng vessel is sinis nila yung vessel or cargo sa high seas, syempre hindi siya piracy. Kasi hindi na siya pumasok dito eh. Kasi nga, ang offender dito, hindi ka dapat member ng vessel or complement. Okay? Okay? Now, discuss natin mga konting special law lang. So, meron tayong terrorism under Article 11479. Okay? So, terrorism committed by any person who within or outside the Philippines, regardless of the stage of execution, nag-engage sila sa acts intended to cause death or serious bodily injury to any person or endanger sa person's life. Nag-engage sila in acts intended to cause extensive damage or destruction sa government or public facility, public place or private property. Kaya naman, nag-engage sila in acts intended to cause extensive interference with or damage or destruction sa critical infrastructure, let's say mga hospital, ganyan. Nag-develop, manufacture, possess, acquire, transport supplies, or uses weapons or explosive or of biological, nuclear, radiological, or chemical weapons, and nag-release ng dangerous substances or causing fire, floods, or explosion. Now, ginawa nila to, mga bagay na to, ang purpose nila is, by its nature and context, is to intimidate. Yan yung purpose kung bakit nila ginawa yung mga yan. To intimidate the general public or a segment thereof. O kaya ginawa nila yan to create an atmosphere or spread a message of fear. Okay? Or ma-provoke or influence by intimidation yung government or any international organization or seriously destabilize or destroy yung fundamental political, economic, or social structures ng bansa natin. Okay, ginawa mo to kasi gusto mong magkaroon ng public emergency or i-undermine yung public safety. Okay? Kapag ginawa mo tong mga acts na to, tapos yung purpose mo is yung mga sinabi ko, you are liable or guilty ka of committing terrorism. Okay? So, pwede ka mag-suffer ng penalty of life imprisonment tapos walang benefit ng parole. Okay? Provided, syempre, na yung terrorism, hindi kasama dito yung mga advocacy, nagpo-protest ka lang, nagdi-dissent ka, stoppage of work. Okay? Kapag kayo ba huminto sa pagtatrabaho kasi gusto nyo mag-alsa o mag-rally, terrorism na ba yun? Hindi kasama yun, syempre. Industrial or mass action and other exercises ng civil and political rights. Ay also pwede ka rin maging liable if nag-threaten ka lang o nagbanta ka lang na gagawin mo yung mga acts na to. Ito nasa screen natin. Okay? Pwede ka na maging liable sa crime na threat to commit terrorism. Okay? Nagbanta ka lang. Ha? Nagbabanta ka lang na magsusunog ako ng hospital. Nagpanic kayo. Liable ka na ba dun for terrorism? The answer is yes. Threat to commit terrorism. Next dyan is terrorism financing. So, committed to any person who directly or indirectly, willfully, or without lawful excuse, possess, provide, collect, or uses property or funds or makes them available property, funds, or financial services or related services by any means with the unlawful and willful intention that they should be used or with the knowledge that they are to be used in full or in part to carry out or facilitate yung commission of any terrorist act na binanggit natin kanina by a terrorist organization, association, or group or by an individual terrorist. Okay? So, magiging guilty ka of financing terrorism. Okay? So, kasama rin dyan yung mga tao na nag-organize or directs others na mag-commit ng financing of terrorism. Okay? Kasama rin yung nag-organize, nag-direct ng ibang tao na mag-commit ng terrorism. Now, binigyan mo ng pera yung mga terrorists. Hindi naman nila ginamit. Okay, pero sabi mo, bigyan ko kayo ng pera, gamitin nyo yan para manggulo. Okay? Pwede kami maging liable for financing kung hindi naman nila ginamit. The answer is yes. Hindi necessary that the funds were actually used to carry out terrorist acts. Okay? Punishable din yung attempt or conspiracy to commit the crimes of financing of terrorism and dealing with property or funds of designated persons. Okay? Yung attempt mo to commit the crime of financing of terrorism shall be penalized by the same penalty 2 degrees lower than that prescribed for the commission of the same. Okay? Any conspiracy to commit the crime of financing of terrorism shall likewise be penalized by the same penalty prescribed for the commission of such crime. Okay? There is conspiracy to commit the offense kapag merong based sa Article 8, di ba? Two or more person na nag-come into an agreement concerning the commission of an offense, tapos nag-decide sila na i-commit yun. Okay, so that ends our discussion for Title 1, Crimes Against National Security and the Laws of Nation. Okay? So, I hope may mga natutunan kayo, may mga na-take kayo, okay? Para sa klase ko dyan, of course, take note and be ready sa mga pwedeng mangyari sa klase natin. Okay? So, with that, magandang araw sa inyo and this is Criminology Made Easy. Okay?